Check out this stylish and unique book stand. Let's get it open and see what's in the box. In the box, we get assembly instructions. They give us a warranty card for a 1-year warranty. There's a bag of hardware, and then we're gonna get 12 wooden panels. This is number 1 right here. It has 2 holes up top, 2 holes down here. Number 2, smaller than that, has 2 large holes here and 2 smaller holes over here. Number 3 looks a lot like number 2. It's just a mirror because the holes are over here with the 2 larger holes up top still. Number 4 has 4 holes on the perimeter here and then a larger hole in the middle. Number 5 is our largest panel. Number 6 is the panel that looks relatively plain. It has holes along the edges, but all of them do. Here's board number 7. There's actually 5 of these. There are 2 obvious holes in the middle here. Number 8 is similar to number 7, but it also has 2 smaller holes over here. Number 9 has 2 holes here and a hole up here. Number 10 here and number 11 here look very similar. They both have these larger holes here on the side, but their placement of the smaller holes are a little bit different. Piece 12 is a tiny triangle. To start off, we go to our hardware bag into slot A, and we're going to grab 4 of these pieces right here. We'll also grab our number 2 and our number 3 boards, and we're going to take the ends of these that have the screw rivets on them and screw them into this hole and this hole right here. And we'll also go to section Z to get the screwdriver that they provided us. And we can start those by hand and then finish them with the screwdriver. And we'll do that for all 4 of those holes on boards 2 and 3. And now our 2 boards should be looking like this. Now go back to the hardware bag, section A, and grab 4 of these metal pieces right here. You'll also need board number 4, and we're going to find these holes here on board number 4 on the side. And with boards 2 and 3, we're going to insert these pieces into those holes. And since these holes are only on one side of board number 4, we want them facing the inside of this right angle that we're making right here. Same thing for boards 2 and 3. Now you can see those metal pieces protruding from inside of these holes here. Take your metal piece right here and find where it has this gap on the underside of it. And now make sure that gold metal piece in there goes into that gap as you press that metal piece down in there. Now we'll take our screwdriver, and it should only take about a quarter turn to get that tight. Now let's do that for all 4 of these. Now we should have a piece that's looking like this. Go to your hardware bag, section B, and get 4 of those black screws. You're also going to need piece number 5. Now we'll take this piece we already made and set it down on the ground. The key here is to have these big holes on numbers 2 and 3 facing towards the ground. Then we're going to take number 5 and set it on top of that. And that has holes on top of it here, 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 and here that we are going to place those screws down into. We can start those by hand, and then go back to our hardware bag, section Z, and retrieve the Allen wrench so we can tighten all 4 of those up. We should have a piece looking like this. Let's set that to the side. And now we can grab pieces number 1 and number 11, and from the hardware bag, section B, get 2 more bolts. Now on board number 1, you'll notice that one of the sides has holes along the perimeter right here, and one side does not. Let's set the side that does not have the holes on the perimeter facing upwards like this. Now these 2 bolts are going to go through these 2 holes on number 1. So they should look like that and that. And those need to be drilled into number 11, where you'll see that they have 2 large holes here and not over here. We want to come down to this side over here and find these holes on the edge. That's where those bolts will go. So of course we have to screw them in, starting with the hand. Make sure we also have these large holes over here on number 11 facing outwards as it connects to board number 1 down here, and then finishing them with the screwdriver. Now we should have a piece that looks like this. Let's go to our hardware bag, section R, and grab 2 of those. Now we find number 12, our triangle piece, and we're going to find these 2 holes along the side of it and align them with these 2 holes down here so they will come together like this. The key is we want this side here facing upwards towards this side out here where these holes are up high. And we'll connect them with the screws by putting them in through the bottom of the board there and screwing them onto number 12. I'm going to start that by hand, and then I'll finish them up with the screwdriver. So now it should be looking like this. Back to our hardware bag to get 4 more of these pieces here, and we're going to take the piece we just built and we're going to put those screws into here, 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 and here. So we can start those by hand and tighten them up with the screwdriver. Now we'll take that first piece that we built and we'll set it down like this. Now we'll take the second piece that we built and we're going to put these screws that we just laid into it down into this piece right here, 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 and here. And that should drop down in like this. Now back to our hardware bag to get 4 more of these pieces here, and we're going to lock them in up underneath the screws we just built. So I'm going to lie this down flat. Now we'll use our pieces there to connect these pieces together, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Remember, you want this gap in that swirl right there to go over top of the screw. And since the screw came facing down, that means you want that gap to face in this direction. Now let's return that to an upright position. For the next step, we'll need our number 8 board. We'll also need the hardware bag. And from section B and section R, we need 2 of the big bolts and 2 of the little bolts respectively. Now we're going to come over to our number 8 board right here, and we're going to find these holes on the edge right here, and we're going to make sure that they're pointed back towards this board over here so it can lay down flat on that triangle that we laid like that. And we're going to line up the holes on that number 8 with this hole right here and this hole right here. And then we're going to take our 2 larger screws and we're going to insert them in through the back over here and into the number 8 board. Same thing down here as well. And just simply get those started for now by hand, because we also need to come to this piece over here and find these 2 holes down here. And that's where we'll put these 2 smaller screws. And these should fall right down into those holes, and then you can tighten them up with the screwdriver. And then don't forget to tighten up these 2 as well. And for that, we're going to need the Allen wrench. And now we should have a nice sturdy base that looks like this. Now we'll need one of the number 7s and go back to the hardware bag, section B, and grab 4 of the large bolts. 2 of these bolts will go in through the back of this panel back here. So one will go in through the back of the bottom of these 2 holes right here, and the other one will go through this hole right here. And then the other 2 bolts are going to come up underneath this board right here. There's 2 holes right here and right here. 1 bolt should go there, and 1 bolt will go right here. Now those 4 bolts are all going to intersect with board number 7 over here. And they'll interact with the holes that are in the sides right here and right here. So I'm going to connect it with the vertical board first, just by hand. And I'll do that with both of those bolts. And now I'll do the same thing down here with both of those bolts as well. And then I'll get my Allen wrench and I'll tighten up all 4 of those bolts. Once those are tightened up, we should be looking like this. Now take board number 10 and find the end that's opposite these holes over here. So go down to this one and then find these holes right here. Back to the hardware bag to get 2 more of these pieces and screw both of them in. You can start by hand and finish with the screwdriver. On the top of our structure right now, the vertical board, there's 2 holes, one here and one here. Drop in that number 10 piece like this. Just make sure that these 2 large holes are facing towards the back. So our tower should be looking like this. Back to the hardware bag and get 2 more of these pieces. Come to the back of our structure here and connect those 2 pieces as we've done before, and then tighten them to the right. Now we should be nice and sturdy right here. Now we need 2 number 7 boards. And back to the hardware bag, section B, get 4 more of the large bolts. We're going to connect our 2 number 7s together by taking these holes on the end of one of them and connecting them to these holes on the other one. Let's just make sure that on the longer side here, the holes right here stay on the same side. So I'm going to connect them basically like this. So I'll do that by putting my bolts through here and a bolt through the other one, and then starting those by hand to get them together before grabbing your Allen wrench and tightening them both up. Grab 2 more number 7 boards, back to the hardware bag, section B, grab 4 more of those bolts, and now we're going to repeat that same process by making sure that these holes on the long side of the board remain on the same side while we connect this interior median holes right here to the holes on the side of another number 7 right there. So they'll go together like that. We'll start the bolts through the back. We can start both of those bolts by hand, grab our Allen wrench, and then tighten them up. Let's be careful to review how we do the number 7s because we're going to have to do this several times today. So you should have 2 number 7s that each have 2 holes in the middle here, and they also have holes along their long sides here, and then they have holes along their shorter sides here. The holes along their shorter sides here are going to intersect with these holes here. And we want to make sure that these holes here are staying on the same side. So we're going to bring those holes there together with the holes in the middle there to make a backwards L. where you can see all the holes on the longer sides remaining on the same side. And then we'll connect that L with our larger bolts from section B in our hardware bag. You can place 2 of them in those holes, tighten them by hand, and then tighten them up with the Allen wrench from the hardware bag. Now we should have a T-shaped piece like this, and anytime we put the 2 number 7s together today, we're going to repeat that same process, mindful of where these holes are. Now we should make 2 more of those T-shaped pieces with the number 7s and the bolts from bag B. Let's repeat that process twice. Now we'll take one of our T-shaped pieces with the 2 number 7s here, and we're going to connect it to the tree like this. So from our hardware bag, we now need 6 of our bolts from section B. 2 of them will come up through these 2 holes here. One will go through this hole here, and another through this hole right here, and then another through this hole right here, and there's another up here, the lower of these 2. So I'm going to start these by hand. And now I'll get the Allen wrench and I'll tighten all 6 of those bolts up. Now grab a number 9 piece and 2 more of these pieces from the hardware bag. Find these 2 holes on the short end of the number 9 and you can screw both of those in there. You can start by hand and then finish them with the screwdriver. Now for proper alignment, make sure these 2 holes face to the right and this hole here faces to the left as we drop this into the top of our structure here. Grab 2 more of these pieces from the hardware bag, and on the back of our structure, just below our number 9 board here that we just inserted, find these 2 holes here and insert those metal pieces before tightening them with the screwdriver. Back to the hardware bag, get 6 more of the bolts from section B, and grab our other T-shaped piece that we made out of our 2 number 7s. Now we'll start 4 of those bolts by hand in the back and tighten them up with the Allen wrench. And the other 2 bolts will go into the lower portion here. Just to give you a better view here, that means 1 bolt right here, 2 right here and here, and the last one right there. Once we have all those in, it should be looking nice and sturdy like that. And then we need to grab our number 6 board, go to the hardware bag and get 4 bolts from section B. And on board number 6, we're going to find these holes right here and make sure they're facing towards the back. And then we're going to find these holes right here and connect them to this number 7 over here with our bolts up through the middle. So we can start those by hand. And then on the back side of the structure, we'll connect that number 6 board to our number 9 right here. Again, starting those bolts by hand. And now we can tighten all 4 of them up with our Allen wrench. Now in our hardware bag, section W, you're going to find 4 of these feet. You can peel the backing off those and then apply it to the bottom of our unit on top of those screws down there. 1 for each.